A few minutes to get situated. I'll get this situated for you. For the men and women of law enforcement who have been working every single day to bring law and order and peace back to the citizens of Los Angeles and to the state of California. As you know, we've seen under this last week some operations that have been working to bring in criminals that have been out on our streets for far too long. Our HSI and ICE individuals have been out conducting operations with our government partners to make sure that these bad actors, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, traffickers, and drug traffickers are brought in and brought to justice finally under this administration. I do want to thank the men and women of law enforcement. They've been absolute rock stars in what they've done to protect this community and to protect this city. I want to specifically name those that are under the umbrella within our components, under the Department of Homeland Security. That has been our ICE officers who have been on the front line out there interdicting with many of these dangerous criminals. Also HSI with their investigative skills and tactical teams have been absolutely imperative to us in helping us make sure we're running operations and really targeting these bad actors. Our Federal Protective Services and also our Border Patrol agents have come and been partners with us in an incredible way. They bring a skill set that has helped us have a whole of government approach under the Department of Homeland Security that has never happened before. The assets that they have and the willingness to do their jobs that this president has allowed them to do has been absolutely incredible. But what you see standing behind me too is also other federal partners that have come to the table that are here to bring safety and security to the city of Los Angeles. I want to specifically thank the Army. I want to thank the Marines, the National Guard, our soldiers, our military men and women who have shown up here to help make sure that we have security. Not only do they protect our country around the world, but they're doing it every single in the United States of America too, and doing it as service, public service to the people in this country because they took an oath to uphold law. We also have a U.S. attorney here who has been aggressive, has been making sure that we don't pick winners and losers in this country, that the rule of law will be followed, and that people who break the law and perpetuate violence will be brought to justice. They will be prosecuted, and there will be consequences for that kind of activity. The presence in our Incident Command Center, as well as the DEA, the FBI, and their investigative teams have been fantastic with their leadership. And we also have the IRS here that's helping us track how these violent protesters are funded, what NGOs out there, what unions, what other individuals may be funding these violent perpetuators that are in these protests that take people who may be wanting to come and be peaceful, but instead turn these into very violent activities that go after law enforcement. That's just simply not acceptable. And I also want to thank our U.S. Marshals. They've been so great in helping us to secure facilities, but also operations and also with transportation, that as soon as someone is arrested and brought into incarceration, that they are transported out and able to face prosecution and the consequences for their crimes. I want people to know that while these officers and these agencies in our military are here doing this work and these operations, that the people across this country are so grateful. They are so grateful for the work that is done here in Los Angeles. They are setting an example for what is happening across the country in other cities and putting together a model and a blueprint for how we can continue to work to make every single community great again and safe again for our kids and for our grandkids far into the future. I've been in many different states with all the different components that I represent over the last 4 or 5 years, and everywhere I go, people stop and say, tell everybody who's working in Los Angeles that is working to bring safety to those city streets and to those families and protect those small business, tell them thank you. Tell them God bless you, that I hope that they are safe and they have been suffering. The people that live here under the policies of Governor Newsom and under the policies of Mayor Bass, and they recognize that it's a huge disservice to the people who have to try to raise their families here, and that these law enforcement officers are working to change that and give them an opportunity and to live the American dream. Listen, many officers have been assaulted over the last several days. We did see before that assaults against law enforcement and ICE officers go up over 400%. In this situation, we've seen that increase even more. It's not acceptable. If you're an officer, we are going to come after you and we are going to arrest you, prosecute you, and put you away. That is not going to work. And under this administration with President Trump's leadership, one person is not better than another. Just because you think you're here as a citizen or because you're a member of a certain group or you're not a citizen, it doesn't mean that you're going to be protected and not face consequences from the laws that this country stands for. We have a Constitution. We follow that Constitution, laws that have been passed by our Congress, and we're going to make sure they are equally applied to every single person as it applies under the Constitution here in Los Angeles, but also across the country. As our law enforcement officers have been assaulted, they've been pelted with rocks and bricks. Their cars have been set on fire. Molotov cocktails have been used. We have seen people throw bottles and hammers at them. We've also seen that they have have been attacked and verbally spit on or punched or assaulted, and it's just not acceptable. The Department of Homeland Security and the officers and the agencies and the departments and the military people that are working on this operation will continue to sustain and increase operations in this city. We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles. I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted, and how their families have been put in jeopardy, and that we're not going to allow that anymore as well. That those individuals who are purposely endangering our ICE agents and our law enforcement officers, and they're prosecuted for what they are doing as far as perpetuating violence on them. I want to know that the American people are grateful for our law enforcement officers. We will always respect them, and that President Trump is thankful for the leadership that has been shown by all of these agencies. In fact, President Trump did call in, and I did visit with him today, and he also visited with all of these agencies here this morning and thanked them for what they are doing to make sure that they are protecting the United States of America. The images that we've seen in Los Angeles the last several days has simply been un-American by the protesters and the violence that we've seen perpetuated. Masked thugs are assaulting police officers. They're setting vehicles on fire. They're waving foreign flags on American soil while burning American flags. And they've damaged public property and destroyed private businesses. We need to make sure that we are continuing to protect the citizens that live here and want this community to be safe. Let me give you just a few examples of those who have been rioting that many politicians like Gavin, Newsom, and Bass are defending. There was a Vietnamese illegal alien who committed a mass shooting at a graduation party in 1994 that we've been able to take off the streets. A Filipino illegal alien that was convicted of an assault with intent to commit rape that we've been able to bring up into custody and incarceration. You see behind you some more profiles of individuals that have brought into custody through the operations we have here. A Mexican illegal alien convicted of willfully cruelty to a child, and on and on and on. Those individuals and those criminals are now off the streets of Los Angeles because of the activities that have been conducted here in the last several days and will continue to operate for days to come. When these riots first began on Friday night, a federal law enforcement building was 1,000 violent rioters, and it took Los Angeles Police Department 2 hours to respond. So we are going to continue to operate with our federal partners and continue to keep asking the governor and mayor for their support and their backup in these operations to make sure that all of our law enforcement officers are protected while they do their work. We're going to protect American cities from lawlessness, and we'll do what it takes to put the American citizens first and make sure they have the opportunity to sleep safely in their beds at night. I just want to say God bless all of the women of the military that serve, all of those who serve in our law enforcement agencies and in public service that make great sacrifices away from their homes and from their families, but they do it because they believe in America and they believe in freedom and law and order, and that is what we are doing right here today and will continue to do for days to come until Los Angeles once again is at peace. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that, and everyone for their comments. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions, but we're going to keep it specifically to questions that pertain to this topic and some of the operations that are ongoing here in Los Angeles and how we will sustain and build on those operations in the future. So do you want to go first? Yes. ABC News. Yes.
A question for you about future planning. We know that there's more protests planned for this. Is DHS actively planning on requesting more assistance from DoD, more troops, given that, is this the nation's new playbook?
You know, what I would say is that I'm not going to telegraph exact statistics and numbers and what we are doing as far as military, but we do have several thousand engaged here in Los Angeles right now. We are assessing this weekend's threat levels, not just here, but in across the country, and pre-deploying assets. So we're using every tool that we have in our toolbox and pre-staging people, task forces, special swift response teams, people with specific gifts and talents that they can contribute to areas that we think they may be needed this weekend, so that we can prevent any kind of violence from being perpetuated.
But it's on the table, the idea of bringing more troops.
You know, I would say the president has the right to utilize every authority that he has under the Constitution to utilize Title X and to bring in military assets and National Guard units, and he'll continue to assess that and use his prerogative to decide when it's necessary. Yeah.
Madam Secretary, you had previously asked the Defense Secretary to direct troops to arrest people. Mm-hmm. Is that something you'd still like to see?
I think what I had talked was a con the Department of Defense to ask the authorities, in conjunction with the president, to make sure that there's consequences for people who perpetuate violence. The assessment is, and they're being utilized to the fullest extent to which it's just to at this point in time. And I'm so thankful we have a U.S. attorney and a Department of Justice that is going out there and prosecuting these crimes as well. That's something that was very different under the Biden administration. That is a game changer now. We have a president now that believes in the rule of law and that is going to make sure that when people break the law, no matter who you are, that you will be prosecuted and you will be brought to justice. Yes, sir.
Madam Secretary,
yes.
Salvador Duran with Univision Network.
Yep.
2 questions for you. The first one is, do you have an estimate number of people that have been detained and deported? And the second question I have to ask you, would you please address Padilla's interruption to your press conference?
I'm not
even pressing charges for what we just witnessed here.
Oh, you know what? I don't even know the senator. He did not request a meeting with me or to speak with me. So when I leave here, I'll have a conversation with him and visit and find out really what his concerns were. I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate. That if you want a discussion, especially as a leader, a public official, that you would reach out and try to have a conversation. For instance, I have left voicemails for Governor Newsom wanting to have a conversation. Has he returned them? No, he hasn't. I know that the White House has reached out and had conversations with Mayor Bass as well. And so that's what we do to try to start these conversations and ask for partnerships. Unfortunately, we haven't met that in this area. I'll visit with the senator and find out really what his concerns are and what we can do.
And as far as the estimate number of people that
what I would say is that we have over 1,500 people that we have been interdicting with, arresting for different situations, and we will continue to build on that. That's been just over the last few days. Know that we have more assets now today than we did yesterday. We had more yesterday than we did the day before, so we are only building momentum. This is only going to continue and be increased peace on the streets of Los Angeles. The president has told me everything that we have to make sure the citizens of Los Angeles know that we care for them. They have lived with crime for far too long, and that we want them to be able to walk their children to school in the morning and feel safe. We want them to, small businesses downtown, to not have to worry about getting burned to the ground because some organized crime nonprofit funder is deciding that now is the time to send a political message or an agenda. So we're going to stay here and build our operations until we make sure that we liberate the city of Los Angeles. Yes, back there. I'm going to do 2 more if that's okay. Go ahead.
A little bit about the specific number in terms of immigration-related arrests that you made, both daily and specifically.
Well, we literally have tens of thousands of targets. So I think that's what's more important. People should know that there are millions of people that are in this city illegally, and that we have, I would say, thousands and thousands of targets that we will be going after. Remember, this president has repeatedly said that he's going after criminals and the worst of the worst. And we're going after people that are in work sites that are trafficking drugs, that are trafficking human beings. Because many times see people claiming that they're members of children. Many times when we DNA testing, they're not. They're really peddling our children. And they have human slavery going on, child trafficking, pedophilia. So we are going after those individuals that we have intelligence on, and we will continue to only build on that. And yes, I'm sorry to get to you right away.
There is some rhetoric out there that some of the people who have been detained, arrested, in detention are not criminals or do not have a criminal history. Can you address that? There's a lot of rhetoric out there that claims...
Well, there's a lot of rhetoric and there's a lot of false information and a lot of fake news. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would start covering the facts. Do all that information that we possibly can. Now, there may be people that because of the targets that we were out there arresting, that were with individuals, they were collaterals, that were spending time with them, and all those people will be vetted. And remembering, still in the United States, if you come into this country illegally, and to do that, we have to go through and follow the law and make sure that we're adjudicating that and dealing with that appropriately. So the president's and priorities are the criminals that have perpetuated violence, but also remind everybody, you have the opportunity to self-deport. We will buy you a plane ticket. We will give you $1,000 when you land in your home country or if you go home to Mexico, and then we will get you scheduled so that you can come back to this country legally. You will have the opportunity to come back to the United States of America. If you don't do that and you wait until we come and arrest you and have to remove you, you will never get the chance to come and live in the United States of America again. The president has been clear on this. So I'd encourage you to get on the CBP Home app, and you can self-deport today, and we will facilitate that. You can take your entire family with you, people and your loved ones, and we will facilitate you coming to this country correctly. Everybody has the opportunity to do that. If you wait until we have to arrest you, you will never get to be an American, much less live here and work here and be able to pursue the American dream. Last question.
Madam Secretary, Alejandro Ortiz with Telemundo 52.
Yes.
You just said that you go after the worst of the worst. But we've seen ICE arresting immigrants in front of their court hearings when they go to their annual immigration check-ins. Even if they're going
and remember,
through the
these are people...
process, Are we sending a message as a country that people, even with no criminal record, and that they're taking the legal correct path, are not safe from
If they took the
detention?
legal correct path, they would have come here legally. They wouldn't have come into our country illegally. Second of all,
Some of them
they
are
have final
criminals. They
removal
have come
orders.
here and
They have
maybe
final
overstayed their visa.
they have final
That's
removal
criminal.
orders, and we're
That's
following.
That's a civil offense, but not a criminal record.
It is actually under the acts that the president has invoked it through his executive orders. It actually is a criminal offense. And so one of the things that we need to remember is that when you're going out there and talking about what is happening with individuals who are in this country illegally, is that they have the opportunity to return back home, and we will work with them and facilitate that and work with their families. But if they choose to wait back and to not make that decision today, then they are subject to this type of operation that will target those that have criminal activity and backgrounds and perpetuators of violence first. Those are our target. But we are going to make sure that we're bringing peace back to the city of Los Angeles.
She told me she has hundreds of cases asking for asylum.
So my only question to you, I'd say a question back to you is, which in the United States should be enforced and which ones shouldn't? I mean, my job, here's the deal, guys. My job is not to pick and choose which laws we enforce and which ones we don't. We have laws in this country, and they matter. If you want the law changed, go to Congress. When's the last time you went to Capitol Hill and told your senator or representative to change it? That's what they need to do. This is the perfect time for Congress to make a decision on how they want people in this country to be able to have an opportunity to come here legally and to fix this. We, as law enforcement officers and as a national security department and agency, my job is to uphold the law, and that's what I will continue to do. Sir, I'm going to finish with you. I kind of like the Bass Pro hat, too, so I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go to you. So go ahead. Yes.
Is this unique to Los Angeles?
Nope. These operations, I will say the operations have been much more difficult because of Los Angeles and California's policies. SB 54 has been difficult for us, and we don't have the backup of your local law enforcement. That's put our office in danger. In fact, even this morning, we had Highway Patrol that we were working with. I was talking to officers. They were so happy that we were here, and they were grateful that we were here interdicting with these criminals. And then the governor found out that I was here, and he pulled them off of me and told him to go back home and to not cooperate with us anymore. So if you don't think your governor's being political, he gets up every single day and the first hat he puts on is the political one, and then he makes a decision that's best for him and his family, and then he makes a decision that's best for what his future is, and then maybe 10 or 15 steps down the line, he'll decide what's best for his people. That's what your governor does. Next, I'm going to come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Can we talk about the potential suggesting an exemption for longstanding farm workers and hotel workers?
Yeah, I think the president recognizes that we have some Department of Labor regulations and laws that we can utilize in certain situations. He and I have discussed this at length and with other cabinet officials, and the president will continue to look at that and evaluate what we can do as far as individuals and facilitating a workforce in this country that we know are people who want to be here legally, what the consequences are for them breaking the law, because everybody, when they break the law, there has to be consequences. But what we can do to facilitate making sure that those who really do love the United States of America have the opportunity at some point to live here and to be a part of our future and to be a part of this country and our economy and the dream of raising their children here. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. I've been traveling around Los Angeles all morning. I saw a lot of graffiti, a lot of destruction. I saw quite a bit of where we saw some of the activity. We were staying close to downtown where we were last night. It was very interesting to me. I would have preferred to have gotten into some areas that I know I was respecting the curfew because I landed after midnight and then we left the hotel this morning before 5 a.m., around 5 a.m. So, but some of those areas that we were able to see, it makes me sad. This is a phenomenal state, and this is such a beautiful city. And people dream.
But you only saw downtown since you've been.
No, I've been driving. I mean, we've been in the car most of them different operations and out with our agents. But I mean, are you not? Don't you want your downtown to be beautiful?
No,
I would say.
Your impression of
Yeah.
I've seen if it was only downtown.
Yeah.
I've seen other parts of.
No, I mean, I've been here many times before. But as far as this trip, we've been out on operations with law enforcement officers, and so we've covered quite a bit of territory. And I'll still be here doing different things in different areas. But I would say that everybody should want their downtown. If you're a family, you want it to be safe and you want it to be beautiful and somewhere people want to come. Thank you.
We'll take any follow-ups later. Thank you.
You bet.
The message of political cow, conspiracies abound inside their twisted sound. One voice shouts above the crowd. The message of political chaos.